For every 30 properties that we look at, we buy one. That's how diligent our process is in buying the land.
So let's dive right into the focus at hand, which is land banking investment. So first, Brad, define what that is, right? And then number two, let's dive into what's the number one secret to investing and building wealth with land banking investment.
So number one, the short answer, land banking is buying land we call pre-developed land that is strategically placed in the path of growth, holding. We're very conservative, so we tell people 7 to 10 years is the average time we have found that it takes for the exit strategy, which is a developer comes, knocks on your door and says, I need your land because I'm building 500 homes or a shopping center or a football stadium or something like that. The exit strategy yields you between 3 and 7x return, 3 to 7 times your investment. And that comes at a cost, which is time. You have to be patient. What was the second question again? The big secret, due diligence. Our company, as far as I've seen from any other land banking companies out there, and there's not very many, that's why a lot of people are going to say land banking, never heard of that before. It's a very well-kept secret. The due diligence that our company does before it even buys the land, and it buys the land with its money first. It's called first mover risk. We will buy the land ourselves because we believe it is going to appreciate in value. And then we sell it to an investor. But for every 30 properties that we look at, we buy one. That's how diligent our process is in buying the land. So I'd say that's probably the secret right there.
Cool. Awesome. So it sounds like you guys buy pre-developed land in the path of growth, and you're looking for developers to come within 7 to 10 years to offer you 3 to 7 times your investment. And it's in the pre-development phase. Maybe you do some entitlements, maybe you increase it, or maybe you're just buying it flat out and just waiting and let them do all of that, it sounds like.
Yep. We call it set it and forget it. Easy person's investing. We do all the research. We buy the land really, really inexpensively because we have ways of finding land that people want to get rid of that they don't think is valuable because they don't do the research. They don't know. We do mark it up. Obviously, the gap between where we buy it and what we sell it to the investor gives us the cash flow to run the company and give the owner a profit. But then the investor who buys it here, which, by the way, they're still buying it below market, so they're still getting a good deal. They're the ones that hold it the 7 to 10 years. They're the ones with the patience to ride it out. And by the way, Rhett, sometimes people exit sooner and sometimes it could be later. So it has to be what we call patient money. And most of my investors, I'd say 75 to 80% of my investors use a dormant 401k or a self-directed IRA of some kind, which, gets into what you like to talk about, I'm sure, is, how do people tax defer money and do it in such a way to minimize the taxes.
Yeah, I got it. I think that's great. So set it and forget it, and you're buying it at a discount. You guys get a little delta, so you'll mark it up a little bit for you guys, but you're still buying it below market. And then you got to be patient, right? And you got to make sure the due diligence is done. That's the number one secret. So maybe talk about the number two secret that comes to mind when it comes to successful land bank investments.
Well, you, the investor, have to be very patient. One of the other things that we offer after you're an investor with our company, we have free Tuesday night webinars where you get a 30-minute update from the COO on what's happening where we invest. So one of those times I heard that the city council in Lancaster, where I owned a mixed-use property, they rezoned my property from MU4 to MU5. They basically said to the developers, okay, you can now build a 5-story hotel or office building instead of a 4-story building. Well, that just increased the value of my land and I didn't do anything. It goes back to your question about entitlements and all that. We don't do anything. We let the city council do all that. We let the developer have the headaches about getting all the permits. So I would say that's the free updates. And then we offer free negotiation coaching. When it comes time to sell your property to the developer, you, the landowner, probably don't really know what your land is worth. Even getting on those webinars, you're still not going to really know what is the value of my land because it's very hard to find comps. It's not like residential real estate where you just look up 3 or 4 houses within a mile and you see what they sold for. We do that, but there's other factors. You could have 2 pieces of land next to each other and one of them has a culvert running down the middle, or an easement from the energy from Southern California Edison that renders that undevelopable. But it's the same dirt, Brad. They're both 5 acres. They're touching each other. How come I can't develop this one, but I can this one? That's the land of commercial, the environment of commercial real estate is you got to be very careful. And that's part of our due diligence. So we offer this free negotiation coaching. We might have other owners that are 100 yards away from you or a half a mile away that have already been offered 2 or 3 times what you got in your initial offer, which is always lowball. And we'll share that information, say, by the way, we know that the land is worth at least 3 times that because we have other investors that are getting those offers. And you're going to go, oh my God, I didn't know that. So when you go back to negotiate, you're armed with a lot more information and knowledge so you can do a better job negotiating.
Excellent. That's great. I think it's great to build back up into the community, into the investors, into their training. And so